What's up, Facebook world? Just trying to go live here on my Instagram. So I can be streaming EmTV lives to the multiple social media worlds and platforms. We are now live on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube and my Facebook business page that I never use. Hi guys, hi everyone, welcome to EmTV Live. I'm outside because it's so nice, so hopefully my Wi-Fi will stay connected. Hopefully it's not too windy or noisy with the lawns being mowed in the background. So welcome to see if we can. Oh, we're back. Good. We're gonna go inside just to safer bet with the internet here. Awesome. Well, thanks for being here. If you're watching on the replay, thanks for watching on the replay. If you happen to pop on and catch this live now, thank you for being here. So let me just get myself situated. All right. Welcome, guys. It's EmTV Live. I'm your host, Emily. If you are new to this arena or my little corner of the social media lands, I am... What is going on here? Pause due to poor connection. Okay. What the heck? I feel like we're 2 minutes in and all I've said is hello. I think we're good. Okay, guys. So I'm a transformational leader, coach catalyst with the new startup abroad. I'd love to tell you guys more about that. Really, I consider myself a facilitator of powerful conversations. My mission in the world is to lead people to a more powerful relationship with themselves, because I truly believe that the relationship we have with ourselves is the most important relationship that we have in the world. And so today, I'm going to be talking a little bit about one of the ways in which we foster that powerful relationship that we have with ourselves, and that is through this journey that we are all on, whether we like it or not, of emotional healing. So I wanted to talk about emotional healing specifically because I find that sometimes when things are really live and real for me in my life and the things that I'm going through, that's often times where I feel compelled to come on and share authentically and transparently. Because I know that if I'm going through stuff, chances are other people in the world are also going through similar things. So I was having a really powerful conversation with one of my very best friends yesterday, Larissa Chesta, and we were talking about this journey of emotional healing. And one of the distinctions that was poignant for me that I wanted to share with you guys in hopes that you can put some language to your own experience and in hopes that you can endeavor to understand and embark on this journey of emotional healing for yourself and for the planet, and thus making the world a more peaceful, loving place to exist. And that was the difference between two kinds of ways in which we create our emotional healing. And one of them was through passive healing, and one of them is through active healing. And I thought it was just really important to pinpoint these so that we can be in a conscious choice with the ways in which we access and take action with our healing journey. So passive healing looks something like doing whatever is needed to be done to just pass the time, right? We know, like that saying, time heals all wounds. I don't know if that's necessarily true, but I do know that time helps. So there is this opportunity or this access point that we have through passive healing, which sometimes means just doing whatever you need to do to pass the time so that more time passes, so that you get more of a perspective on, your healing journey, the circumstances that led you to the journey, what you want your desired outcomes to be, and how best, to continue to move you forward. May you process that healing, be active in that healing process so that you can continue to move forward in the direction that's resonant for you. That's of fulfilling your life purpose. And so one of the ways in which I think a lot of people passive heal is they turn to substances, right? So we might look at drugs and alcohol use. We might look at any really addictive behavior, whether it's like online shopping or smoking or any of these habits that we've created that create a loop for us. They're kind of like our go-to. And if you watch The Well with Jomar Gomez and myself on these channels here streaming, we go live every other Wednesday. And last week, we talked about judgment. And you can go and watch the replay on that either in the videos section of my Facebook or on the IGTV and my Instagram. It's also streaming on my YouTube channel. And I shared in that video that after 2.5 years of not smoking cannabis, I have started smoking cannabis again, of the high THC variety. And I noticed a lot of judgments on myself. And as it pertains to this video and the topic of healing, and what I've noticed was a way in which I create passive healing for myself is sometimes through smoking cannabis. And that allows a certain amount of time to pass. And in that time, what happens is you process some of your emotions more. And listen, I'm not saying that substance use or smoking cannabis or, online shopping, I'm not suggesting that these are necessarily the things that you should do. I'm just very honestly and transparently talking about human nature and how a lot of us turn to ways in which we can support our passive healing, time passing, being able to check out a little bit. I think the key is doing all of this with a clear intention, with consciousness, with full awareness of what you're stepping into in whatever realm of passive healing you step into. I'm going to talk about active healing in a second, but what I want to point out is in this process, what is so important is losing my train of thought as I think about active healing now. Okay, let me just dive into the active healing. So the active healing, we might say, is the more resonant or the more optimal form of healing if we're coming at it in a conscious approach where we are actively healing in the realms of, say, journaling or meditation or prayer or movement, breath work, getting support outside, professional support, whether it's outside of your friends or family, someone that is an expert in the realm of the area that you are processing. These are all ways in which we participate in our active healing journey. And I think what's really beautiful and special is to just be able to honor and recognize when you are in the process of an emotional healing journey and seeing yourself at one time or another be active in both areas, both active in your passive healing and active in your active healing. And the reason that I think that this is important is because the healing and the feeling of the feelings and the processing of the trauma and the processing of the grief and all of these emotions that we have to experience, we literally have to experience them. We have to go through them in order for us to truly put the past behind us and to be able to move forward. So a couple of the ways in which you can tell if you are making optimal choices in the realms of your passive healing and your active healing as you embark on your own healing journey, is to look at, are the choices that I am making me feel better? And the reason that this is so important is because sometimes we make choices that we think are going to make us feel better. Our intention behind making the choice is because we think it's going to make us feel better. But then we actually have to do our work and check in after the fact. Did that thing actually make me feel better? Do I actually feel better having made that choice? So this is the realm in which I want to support everyone to look when it comes to, their active healing and their passive healing and the choices that they make in both of those domains. If you're making the most optimal choice based on how you feel. So do you actually feel better, right? So one of the ways in which I got called out on this yesterday in the same conversation with my girlfriend Larissa was making choices that with the intention that they were going to make me feel better. and the impact was actually not making me feel better. So we have to have this level of discernment, right? To know, are the choices that I'm making actually making me feel better? I know I made those choices with the intention to feel better, but was the impact of those choices, did it actually make me feel better? And this is where we get to do our work, right? Like, this is where we get to practice discernment, by learning from the impact of the choices that we've made. And then moving forward in the realm of what are other choices that I can make that will support me feeling better, that will support my growth, that will support my learning, that will support my most optimal expression, that will support me in alignment with my life purpose, that will support me to be essentially the very best human being that I can possibly be, right? You will know if you've made the right choices, because you will start to feel better. You will start to process. You will start to move forward. I just want to point out that on the West Coast right now, it is 11:11 on May 11th. So welcome to the serendipity and the synchronicity. If you're watching right now, this is exactly where you are supposed to be. Thank you for joining me. Okay, so we talked about active healing, we talked about passive healing, we talked about how to know if you are making those right choices. And the other invitation that I want to share, or the thing that I find helps me along my own healing journey, is to continue to have a relationship with your future self. Continue to have a relationship with your desires. Continue to have a relationship with the most optimal version of yourself, what you see for yourself, what you see for your future. And as you cultivate that relationship with your most optimal future self, and you can feel that version of yourself, and you can taste that version of yourself, and you know what life feels like when you are tapped into that version of yourself, that version of yourself, that energy, that vision, the thing that is tethered to you and your future, there is an access point there within which you can check in with, am I on the right path? Am I making the right moves? Is the choices that I'm making today aligned with that vision of the future that I have for myself? And if the answer is yes, then make that choice. And if the answer is no, then perhaps you need to pause or pivot, essentially. If you're going to proceed, it means that you're in alignment, you've got a clear direction. I'll give you guys a real example. So in my coach training, we did this visioning exercise where we met like our inner leader, our inner authority, the part of us that is the fullest expression, that moves us forward, that knows what's best for us, that knows that everything that right now is okay, and also holds this paradox for wanting more for ourselves, right? We all have this version inside of us. We also all have the version that's like the inner critic, the saboteur, the one that wants to keep us small, keep us in our comfort zone. That's a different video for a different time. But right now what we're doing is I want us to focus on this version, this most optimal version of ourselves. So in this exercise that I did in my coaching training, we went on this visualization journey to meet our captain. It's like to meet your higher self, essentially. And there's no rules on what your captain has to be. Mine just happened to be a future version of myself. So I met an older version of me that had accomplished all of the things that I wanted to accomplish, that I want to accomplish. And to make a long story short, what's so powerful about that exercise and that vision is I now have access. I now have access to this future version of me, right? And I go to her and I process with her and I strategize with her and I discuss with her where I'm at now. And are the choices that I'm making, is what's happening in my life, and am I moving down the path that is actually bringing me closer and closer to that version of myself that I know is down the road. So that is just another way in which you can kind of check in, where you can integrate that future version of yourself into your healing journey. What does that future version of yourself know about what's needed for your healing journey? Knows what's best about the active healing practices that you can take on, or the passive healing that you undertake. I mean, you're not in as much action with the passive stuff. That stuff just kind of happens naturally. It's you just sort of dancing with the flow of life. But I don't know. I thought this was poignant right now. We've been in this pandemic for over a year. If you're in Canada, you're certainly feeling the implications as we watch the rest of the world open, and we're still here just yeah, caged in our little homes and not able to move about the world freely. And there's just so much going on in the world. And I know that that's the case for everybody. And I hope that this video was helpful for even at least one person, because there's also, on top of like operating inside of this pandemic, there's also like, we're all still dealing with our own lives. We're all still dealing with our relationship with ourselves, our relationship with our partners, with our co-parents, with our children, with our parents, with our siblings. And all of that stuff comes with stuff. So I personally think that this is really, profound, powerful, and important time for us to be embarking on our emotional healing journeys so that we can continue to move forward into a brighter, more loving, more peaceful world. That all starts with us. It starts with our relationship with ourselves, the work that we are doing with us, for everyone. So that's my EmTV Live for you guys today on May 11th, 2021. I hope if you watched this video, you got some value out of it. I would love to hear you. Any value that you did create, you can post in the comments. And if you want to discuss any of this stuff further with me, or what it looks like, to pertain it to your own life, would love to do that. You can send me a DM. And that's what I got. I'll be back soon. If you have any topics for EmTV that you'd like me to cover, I also love receiving those kind of messages too. Thanks for listening to me ramble. Thanks for receiving my vulnerability, my shares, for being an outlet for me, for witnessing me. And I'm just sending you guys all so much love from my heart to yours. And I will see you all very, very soon. Ciao for now. Bye-bye, Facebook.